We don't use white here because it's a little bit too stark. While we're at it, just a little bit to the oxygen cord. While we're at it, just a little bit to the oxygen hose. We'll now dry brush the aircraft ribs with some Humbrol gray-green, just in order to bring out the highlights in the ribs. Very light here. The color that I'm using is not etched in stone. It's not written in a book anywhere. I'm just using it to contrasting color to highlight the rib detail. This is an extremely subtle effect, and that's what you're looking for. Don't overdo this by any means, or else it'll make your model look odd. If you're having a difficult time picking this up in the video, well, maybe that's not so bad. I do want this to be subtle. Our next step is to give the model a wash. Got some black with a little bit of Prussian blue just to take the edge off of it. Now remember, this is going to look a little strange, first of all, but don't let that bother you. Give our instrument panel a little bit of a wash. In the final analysis, this helps to add depth to the model. You can use a hair dryer on low setting to help the water dry. And what will be left behind is just the color. Once you've dried your water-based paint, come back with a damp brush, the same one you used to put the paint on with in the first place, and brush back the areas, breaking up the large clumps of black paint. The idea here is to have a nicely understated effect once more, so that it shadows the ribs rather than paints them. And then too, aircraft often got dirty, and so this helps to simulate some of the grime that accumulated in the aircraft. You can use a cloth wrapped around your finger to dab the excess watercolor away. The next step is to apply a coat of protective, clear, flat finish. I'm going to use a homemade punch here in order to remove the oxygen regulator control panel from the Waldron 1/4 scale radio front panel sheet. I'll attach the oxygen regulator face with a dab of white glue. Use caution when attaching these parts. They are small and will fly away in a second. Here's the completed oxygen panel. And while we were at it, we added a little bit of detail to that navigator clipboard from the same Waldron sheet. In fact, if you want to, you can dress the complete cockpit with one of those Waldron sheets and add a tremendous amount of detail. Wheel hubs are generally aluminum in color. However, some aircraft painted their wheel hubs in Squadron colors. Check your references just to make sure. We'll buff that wheel hub with aluminum powder. Brush away the excess with a soft rag. Now let's give it a coat of clear flat for subsequent handling. Now, add a black enamel wash to the recessed areas to bring out the depth. Now we'll wipe away the excess with a piece of paper dipped in enamel thinner. Tires are not a uniform black. Wear and tear dulls and muddies the natural finish. We will simulate this with a light overspray of Testors rubber, followed by a dry brushing of dark gray. A little dusting of Grumbacher's flesh ochre and burnt sienna pastels will complete the effect. Finally, give the tire a realistic bulge by pressing it lightly on a medium hot iron covered with aluminum foil. Remember, the side of the tire with the least tread detail goes down. Landing gears will get the same detail treatment as the engines and wheels. The B-17 struts will be covered with Floquil bright silver, buffed with aluminum powder, and then washed with black enamel. The 0 strut will wind up black, washed with gray. Both will be detailed with pastel powders. In order to make the oleo strut on the B-17 stand out, we'll add a little piece of bright bare metal foil. Finally, simulated nomenclature plates will be airbrushed using masks. Using the Squadron signal in action B-17 as a reference, we'll add some detail to the hydraulic lines. We'll use fine solder, bent to shape and held in place with superglue. Make sure that when you use your superglue that you use only small amounts. You don't want blobs on your painted surfaces. Paint the hydraulic lines flat black and leave the hydraulic coupling lines silver for a contrast. Most propellers are finished flat black with yellow tips and the hubs either gloss black or Squadron colors. Although subject to wear and weathering, the effect cannot be overdone. I finished my B-17 props with dry transfer markings available from Woody Vondracek Enterprises. These transfers are masterful reproductions in full color. There are a number of techniques for replicating guns. The B-17's top turret gun was painted Testors flat black, washed with Humbrol gray enamel, then lightly buffed with aluminum powder. The ammunition was dry brushed using Testors brass. The B-17's nose turret gun was painted Floquil old silver, given a misting of Floquil gun metal, washed with Testors gloss black, and then lightly buffed with aluminum powder for more of a cold steel appearance. Some engines must be installed for final assembly to take place. This is true for cockpits too. To keep out unwanted paint, make a protective cover for the engines by cutting cardstock and putting them in place. Make sure the fit is snug. Prior to adding paint to the surface of the aircraft, wheel wells and other areas should be taped off. Wet tissue tucked in small inlet holes is also an effective barrier to unwanted paint. With our interior complete and our sub-assemblies mounted inside the aircraft, we can begin gluing the airplane together. I'll let the capillary action of the methyl ethyl ketone do my gluing for me, adding pieces of tape to hold the fuselage together. Careful not to get your fingers along the seam, or else you'll glue imprints into the plastic. Whenever possible, I glue from the back. Let the capillary action take the glue right down through the fuselage.